Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. What's up, you guys? It is your girl, Miss Honey, here for another power review. This time, this is book 4, Force, which is the Tommy leg of the franchise. I apologize to you guys that I'm coming a little late with this review, but I had the privilege of being over on TSF Entertainment. I will put a link down below. They do a power panel podcast type thing every Sunday, and they invited me to come over and have some conversation. And today was my first day. I had some sound issues, so I'm going to put a link down below, and then also post a community reminder when I have the opportunity to be on again, which I think I will, because like I said, I had some sound issues, so I think we're going to try it again, in which case I'll make sure you guys know so you guys can get in there and flood that chat with your questions and your conversations, because that's really what I was missing, right? Like, I was missing my honeybees coming in, you know what I'm saying? Dropping you guys' jewels of wisdom and stuff like that, right? And they had a lot of great things to say as well. So, yeah, it would have been a win-win for everyone. But we are here now to talk about this is episode 2 of the flagship season of Force. The title of the episode is King of the Gosh Darn Hill. So yeah, I still have high hopes for this leg of the franchise, but I am getting some of those residual feelings, those old feelings where I feel like Courtney Kemp is doing little things, and we kind of talked about it over on TSF Entertainment today. So if you get a chance to catch that live, go back and check that live out. Do the playback for that live. But I'm just getting some of those same feelings. You know, it's these little nuances that don't make any sense, and at the same time, they're unnecessary. Like, it's one thing for you to drop something, and it adds to the storyline, like it defines the storyline, makes things a little bit more acute for us. Yeah, great, right? Drop it, right? And we love the Easter eggs, right? The symbolisms, but some of this nonsensical stuff, it's just giving me that same old vibe with Courtney again. And it bugs me that she does it, because we are adept enough and we are intelligent enough to be able to have a more complex storyline dropped on us. So in this episode, we see where Tommy is pretty much contemplating. It looks like he's been up all night, you know, and just thinking about how he's going to do this Chicago thing. We also see he gets a phone call from his brother JD, and JD's bar has been shot up. JD thinks it's because he's been so busy trying to catch up on his father's medical bills that he has not had time to pay whomever he pays protection to. And so this is their way of sort of forcing his hand. And he and Tommy have a really good conversation where this is one of the nuances we were talking about, was that he wrote down his telephone number for Tommy last week, but this week we see him calling Tommy, right? And so I guess there's this supposition that they must have had some conversation at some point in order for them to have each other's number at this point. Like, we're supposed to make, like I said, these suppositions, right? And we also get to hear from JD that he is same gender loving, and that you know, he's a bar owner. He and his dad both own this bar. So Tommy ends up giving him money, which he doesn't want to take because it really isn't enough to do anything but kind of band-aid the situation. But this is what Tommy does, right? You know, if he can fix it with money, he's gonna fix it. You guys remember his relationship with Holly was really all surrounding, I think, what he could do for her, what he could give to her. And so, yeah. But it's still a good moment, right? We get to see where Walter Flynn is talking with his doctor. Apparently, Walter Flynn has a major illness. Not sure if it's terminal yet, but it does sound as though it's really bad. And we see where Vic comes in and discovers this information, although he can't get his father to expound a little bit more on what the illness is. His father does not want Claudia to know, and he wants Vic to get his head on straight, because something happens to me, you're going to be running this organization and you're going to be answering to the people that I have to answer to, which I don't even know who those people are. I think we need a little bit more. You know, we need a little bit more in order for us to have a genuine fear of the Flynn family and the weight that they bring into the game. I just think we need to see a little bit more Flynn background. We need to see definitely we need to see Flynn walk a little bit heavier. And we know he can't walk heavy with Vic because Vic is incompetent, right? And he's weak. He's jellyback, right? He doesn't want Claudia to take the lead because she's a female, which I ultimately think is the mistake. I think Claudia is probably more ruthless and more about that life than he can imagine. I said in today's panel discussion earlier today that every time we've seen her, she's walked in this position, this dominant position, in this boss position. At this point, we've seen more cojones from Claudia than we have seen from Vic. So I'm just saying, right? We also see where what's the brother name? Jay. Diamond's brother, it starts with a J. We're just going to call him Jay. He wants to intro some little knuckleheads to Diamond. You know, these are going to be our hitters. These guys are going to run the block. Like they're going to bring, you know, the revenue in. They're going to sell the product, and Diamond's not feeling it. He knows that these guys shoot first and ask question later. They use 20 bullets when 2 bullets would do. Innocent people are getting killed, and just Diamond is just not about that life. I don't think he's that he doesn't want to be in the game. I think he doesn't want to be in the game in the same way he was before. He doesn't want to do all this killing. He doesn't want all this gratuitousness. He wants to get this money, but he wants to do it kind of, you know, in a more stealthy way, if you will. And, you know, Jay doesn't really want to hear it. He feels like I've done this thing for 15 years and you're back now, and if you just think you're just going to sit in the seat of power. Like, he's not saying this, but he's giving us those, you know, that energy, the facial features, everything, just kind of letting us know, like, yeah, I'm the king. I should still be king, and you should be listening to me now. But because Diamond is always taking care of him, you know, it's kind of like talking back to your daddy a little bit, right? He hasn't quite mustered up the strength to talk back yet. So that's a conversation I'm excited to see happen. We see where Tommy gets attacked by none other than Liliana. And it's this whole weird thing, right? Liliana was an individual in power that they were supposed to kill, I think, and he ended up letting her go, and now she's back. I thought she was the girl in the elevator that used to work for them that got her face cut and the money took, right? Like, I thought that was like episode 2, but evidently it was later on in the original Power series. Anyway, now she's back, and she thinks that Tommy is there looking for her, which I'm just like, girl, you're not that important. And he thinks that she's there looking for him. They just happen to have crossed paths because Liliana, who's been in Chicago for a while, has moved her game there. She's wheeling and dealing for somebody there. It's completely separate and completely coincidental, right? Before they can kill each other, we see where the police pull up, and this is the only actual real time in 2 episodes we see someone really taking Tommy to task, like really making him fight. Like, these are the only real true fight scenes that we have in the last 2 episodes. Everything else has been Tommy just taking everybody's lunch money, right? Like, he hasn't had any real competition until Liliana showed up in the game. And, I'm just saying. We see where Vic rolls up on Gloria. She's basically over it. Here's the thing. He is of Irish descent, and they believe in keeping everything within their own culture and ethnic background, which means he is expected to marry an Irish woman and then produce Irish children. And because she is of mixed race, the dominant race, according to American Standard Guidelines, 1% black. She's a black woman, right? And his daddy's not gonna have that. Outside of the fact that he's weak, she's still paying protection, even though she was dating the son of the guy she's paying protection to. So she knows that she has no standing with that family. He claims that he loves her. She likes the fact that he has a loyal demeanor, but at the same time, everything else that she don't like about him overpowers that. The fact that he jellyback and mealy mouth and weak knees, you know what I'm saying? The fact that he really is a sucker. He just trying to look like, he about that life, but he's not about that life. And she just lets him know, let me have my key back. He says, I'm not getting your key back. You can change the locks if you want to, which a little bit to me feels kind of like controlling behavior. A little bit to me, it feels like you one of them people that's going to say, if I can't have you, can't nobody have you, right? Which is going to get your neck broke, especially when it comes to Tommy, because Tommy is not hearing it, right? Like, I'm not saying he hung up on Gloria, like he's stuck on Gloria. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you though is that Tommy don't like, unnecessary, he's not finna let you a man just whoop up on a woman, right? Like that. Tommy more oftentimes than not fights for the underdog, right? He is tenderhearted in that way. So we see where Tommy rolls up on Diamond and Jay. They got the 2 knuckleheads outside, and they got 2 guys inside the bar. Like, this is their spot. Like, this is the CBI's spot, their hangout spot, right? And so he rolls up, and they check him. It's a lot of penises on the table in this moment. It was a good moment. Tommy definitely came out as the more dominant in this conversation. I think Diamond held his own, but you know who didn't? That was Jay, the brother. He really, I don't know. He came across real Victor Flynn to me. Like, he was giving me them same vibes where don't nobody really kind of respect him in that capacity, right? To sit with the big bosses. That's just what I was getting in this scene. There's a moment where Tommy returns the money. He returns the drugs, just like he did with Vic. And, he notices a lot of things about the shop. He notices that Diamond's government name is David. And, he just like kind of on a recognizance. I think reconnaissance mission, right? And we see where the young knuckleheads come in and they draw a gun and they're gonna basically shoot Tommy like right there in the bar, which is gonna be covered in DNA, right? Like it's the stupidest thing. This is what Diamond was saying, and they don't answer to Diamond. They tell Diamond, screw him. They don't answer to him. They answer to Jay. And so Jay is like, oh, like this whole thing just completely went south. It wasn't according to the plan that Jay wanted. It proved Diamond's point, and it also, for the second time, made him look bad in front of Tommy, who's seeing dissension between he and his brother. It wasn't a good day for Jay. Wasn't a good day for Jay. It was a good moment in the episode, though, because we got to see these two supposed juggernauts kind of face off. We get to see where Diamond just leaves that energy that's in there and leaves Jay behind and takes a walk with Tommy to have a little powwow with Tommy. Now, this is a direct snub to Jay, because if they considered you boss, if they considered you on their level, he would have took you in along for the conversation, right? They don't get 4 feet from the Dad Burn barbershop when a car pulls up and masked individuals jump out, and it's the Rojas gang. Apparently Diamond put King Rojas in a wheelchair, right? And puts bags over the head, throws them in the car, and next time we see them, they're in an empty warehouse being held at gunpoint. Tommy is still fighting. Like, he's headbutting, knocking people out, the whole nine. But we get to see from Diamond this level of leadership where he's able to calm the situation down and say, hey, your beef is with me, right? Like, what's up? Like, what gives? And so they've got all of these drugs, and because the city is so hot right now and they feel like he owes King Rojas, then what they're going to do is give you their drugs. So dumb, right? So dumb. But I do agree with one of the panelists, Really B, who was saying that they used this scenario with the Rojas gang to move Tommy about the city and allow him to see all of these different factions, drug factions around the city. So this scene was actually to expose him to the drug scene and some of the players within Chicago, right? So outside of that, it seemed just made absolutely no sense. So basically, they got 3 hours to deliver the drugs and bring King Rojas's money back, which they are able to do successfully. But we get to see Claudia and Vic, and basically none of the men in the Flynn family respect Claudia at all. I dare say if something were to happen to Walter Flynn, I don't know. I think Claudia would do what she has to do to get that business. That's what I think. I think she would, even if it included taking Vic out, because at this point neither one of them gives her any respect, and each time they do that, they're pushing her back further against the wall, and she's gonna come out, kicking and screaming, right? She has no choice. So I look forward to that moment, just to see Claudia kind of stand on her own. Like I said, she's got more balls than Vic any given day of the week. We see where Diamond and Tommy kind of bond over the moment in different moments as they ride out to collect Rojas's money. We see the juxtaposition between Tommy as a white male, even though he's still in the game, and Diamond as a black male, both in the game and being an ex-con. So we see where the cops are profiling Diamond, and thank goodness he's with Tommy. As a matter of fact, he's driving the Mustang, right? Which is a huge turn of events for us because we know Tommy never let anybody drive the Mustang. But Diamond knows the city. He knows his way around, and he knows where all the stomping grounds are. So, yeah, so they have the opportunity to bond. They have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about each other. And, well, Tommy has an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Diamond. Diamond sees how Tommy moves. He sees how he operates. But in terms of, hearing a background story about Tommy, Tommy's not given that. So what the things that Diamond learns, he learns by observation. The things that Tommy learns because Diamond is in this place where he kind of wants to talk about his past and now and how he wants to move. And the way that Tommy moves sort of speaks to that aesthetic, his current aesthetic. Not as a shoot 'em up, but as a guy who wants to move a little bit smarter, right? A little bit more stealthy, right? I said before, I'll say it again. Jenard is a hothead. Kind of like Tommy was in Original Power. And Diamond is giving me a little Ghost feel, right? He wants a legit business. He wants to move more stealthy. He doesn't want it to be all this bang, bang, pow. So it's kind of ironic that he may be taken up with Tommy, who was the original Jenard, right? Am I the only one that sees it? But they go from place to place. They go to the first place, which is Latinas or Hispanics, and that's run by a woman. Tommy goes in, takes the drugs, and handles it. Through this whole distribution pickup situation, we see Diamond as the driver, okay? Which is good for him because he doesn't need to be caught with any drugs at any point. At the same time, he's being left in a car that everywhere they go, because the police are all in the streets real bad, they keep stopping him and harassing him and profiling him. Everywhere he goes, he is being disrespected as a black man, right? It was kind of overkill, but I think there was this overarching point, which is Tommy has a place here because as a white male, he can move differently than a black male, right? At the same time, if Tommy was a lesser person, if Tommy was more of a Vic, he could use that same thing against the GBI, right? CBI. So we get to see where he goes, I think, to a Hasidic drug dealer that owned a deli. And at this point, Rojas gang had kidnapped and mollywopped Jenard. And they were holding him hostage. And they cut the time short that Tommy and Diamond had to get back with their money. We see where the last stop is a guy who was clearly getting high off of his own supply, a junkie himself. And, Tommy basically had to go in and once he got his drugs, shook the guy down after the guy passed out from taking the drugs and took the money. But they're able to go back and collect Jenard, give the money over, and they're free to go. Right? It was all kind of easy peasy. We didn't look too hard into the situation, even though it didn't make very much sense. We're just letting all of this slide, right? Okay? Because we still got our fingers crossed. We see where JD, Tommy goes back after everything and talks with JD, and he tells Tommy a little bit more about himself, namely the fact that he has a son who is 16 now, but he is not seen in 14 years, meaning he hasn't seen his son since his son was 2 years old. And so apparently, when he came out of the closet to the mom, she took the son and left and didn't allow him to see the son, which I don't understand, because if I got a son out there, I'm gonna be stalking the Facebooks and the mama's pages, the mama's sisters and family members' pages. Like, I can think of 6 different ways he could have got in touch with the mama and thereby the son, but it's fine. It kind of looks like right after this conversation, we get to see, we get to see this tender moment from JD as he's talking to Tommy about his son, the fact he hadn't seen him, the fact that he loves him and he wants to see him, right? And Tommy's like, I got more money for you here, and JD's like, listen, this is not why I called you. I didn't call you so that you can pay for all my bills and be absolved of it. I don't want to be this burden on you. What's more important to me is that we get to know each other as family. And he has video of Kate with Tommy as a baby, like this old projector film type video of Tommy as a baby with Kate as a loving mother. This must have been pre-junkie Kate, right? And it touches Tommy in this way, right? And it does kind of lock Tommy into JD a little bit more, right? It's weird because we're using the character of JD to sort of soften the heart of Tommy, but at the same time, it kind of feels like JD may be hiding something. There may be something more, because we see this kid, just like shadowy, scenes of this kid and his hair, and we see him go in a box and pull out a picture of a black man and his son, a small child, and we see him put this gun away, and this gun looks like the same gun that shot up JD's place initially. In the first place, it was like a little drive-by shoot up, right? Initially when I saw the car, I thought that doesn't look like Irish people drive a black Magnum, all tinted windows. But when we see this little snippet with this young guy, the shadowy young guy, I'm thinking that that's JD's son, right? So y'all tell me what y'all think about that moment. And, this bond that is forming between JD. I still think that JD's got something going on outside of just being a bar owner. Like, he's coming across as like a regular Joe, but at the same time, I don't know. Is JD a connect of some sort? I don't know. It seems like he would have more people around him. I'm just saying, there's something more going on with JD. We see where Tommy takes care of the Rojas gang, and in doing so, he adds another favor onto Diamond and Jenard's. Now you owe me 2 favors, right? Like, I've saved you a couple of times. I saved you from getting drugs that you paid for full speed ahead that had been stepped on with baby aspirin. I returned your money, and now this gang that took us and blackmailed us to do this thing and took your brother and mollywopped him. I put in the trunk of a car and set that joker on fire, right? So he brings a little token and shows it to Diamond and lets him know, yeah, you owe me one more favor, right? Like, Tommy's kicking butt and taking names, okay? We also see where Vic sees Tommy afterwards. He's gone over to see Gloria, and Gloria and Tommy have a good conversation about who she is and who she owes. She's got a set of balls on her too, like Claudia. She's no damsel. She's no wilting wallflower, right? Like, she seems like she can hold her own. Um, from the moment we met her, her conversation never came across as this mealy mouth, weak individual. She's always talked in strength. She seems like she makes strong, concise, decisive decisions, right? Like, just my opinion. And they have definite chemistry. Well, Vic is outside the bar, and not only is he watching her, like, he's coming across as real controlling, real stalkerish. Well, he sees her with Tommy, and he is pissed off that much more because she's not giving him the time of day, and he thinks that this dude is why, even though she was very clear that that was not the case. We see where Tommy goes and he finds a place to stay, which was one of the more nonsensical moments in this episode. I want to give Courtney Kemp some leeway, but like I said, I just think these moments don't really add anything. They don't add any value to the show itself, and they don't add any value to our relationship as viewers with the creators and the writers of the show, right? It doesn't bond us stronger. It just forces us into this place where we have to continually look over these glaring things in order to get some enjoyment from this show. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. Y'all put it down below. But Tommy goes and he knocks on the door of this Tommy goes and he knocks on the building of this refurbished building where this guy throws card parties. And he tells the guy, I'm giving you some money to move and also to forget my name. And he gives him a wad of money. Like, this is Chicago. You know what I'm saying? This is Chicago. His name is still going to be on the building. He just has to go live somewhere else. How much money could it have been? Your property is invaluable. Property anywhere is invaluable right now. So, like, I don't know. It was just weird. He gave him two big old fat rolls, one to go away and one to forget his name. And Tommy just takes his bag and moves into this man's place. Right, and there just happens to be a map there. Tommy was able to look at the map of the city, you know, the main thoroughfare, the main vein of the city. And then we see where Tommy sneaks up on Liliana. He's able to find where Liliana is staying, and they have this big fight where they're, you know, kind of molly-whopping each other. He's throwing around. He gets the best of her. He goes to stomp her head in. She's telling him, no one sent me. I just heard about this white guy who was here, who drove a blue Mustang, and I thought you came to get me. He was like, no, I thought you came to get me. She was like, no, I didn't come to get you. I left the city. I'm doing my own thing here. He doesn't believe her. He goes to stomp her in the head, and his foot goes through the floor, and that's where he finds her stash of drugs, and it's got the spider symbol on it, which I thought the spider symbol was for the Jimenez cartel, but I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that. So hopefully Courtney and her crew of writers can tie this thing together for us. Right now, I'm definitely putting the side eye in place for this writing. I wish I could sit down and have a conversation with Courtney. I'm nobody, but I do have a point of view. And I know quality program when I see it. And this whole series has potential, so I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about how they're dumbing everything down. Also, they're trying to play Tommy up in our eyes, in my opinion, to be this formidable foe, like, you know, this formidable contender in the drug game. He's just running around, you know, pushing babies over and taking lunch money everywhere. But how much value can we put on Tommy as a hero, as our main character, if the villains are weak, right? Like the Tejadas. Would Tariq have seemed as smart and as clever if he was up against Milan or the Jimenez cartel? He only seems clever and strong and witty and in this way because he doesn't have a strong villain. The Tejadas are not a strong, formidable foe, and neither so far are the Flyns from what we can see, or CBI, right? So you can't say Tommy is this formidable competitor, especially if the people that he's competing with are babies, blind people, and old folks. It's just pushing people over and taking their drugs. Like, it's no problem. I want the construct to be stronger here, Courtney. Do y'all agree with me? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Can we truly respect Tommy as a formidable foe, formidable competitor, contender, if the villains in the story suck, if they're weak sauce, right? That's the episode. You guys tell me what you think. Put it down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about everything. Listen, until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll holla.